I live in the most perfect place in the world, and that's why I'm scared to death. I'm writing this from my bathroom floor with the lights off. I've turned my phone brightness all the way down. If you're reading this, please don't ignore it. I'm not crazy. I wish I were crazy. Being schizophrenic would be a relief right now, because if I were insane, the world would still make sense. I moved to Silver Creek 6 months ago. I needed peace. You know that small town silence that feels like a hug? Well, Silver Creek is exactly like that. Everything here is impeccable. The sidewalks don't have a single crack. The trees look like they were pruned with invisible rulers. At first I thought I'd hit the jackpot, but the peace didn't last long. The first sign wasn't alarming. It was just weird. I was heading out to work around 7:30 a.m. My neighbor, Mr. Miller, was in his garden. He's a guy in his 50s, always wearing a vest and a smile. He was using a manual lawn edger. The problem? His grass was already perfect. He was running the tool over the asphalt of the sidewalk. I paused for a second, watching and listening to that sound of metal scraping against stone. Scritch, scritch, scritch. "Good morning, Mr. Miller," I called out, trying to be friendly. He stopped, but he didn't turn around the way a person does. His body stayed facing away, but his neck, he tilted it so far back I thought it would snap. When he finally rotated his torso, his smile was stretched. I can't explain it. It looked like he was making a massive effort to keep the corners of his mouth pinned up. "Ethan, good morning." His voice was far too cheerful. "The grass is growing fast, don't you think, Mr. Miller?" "You're running the edger over the concrete," I said, laughing awkwardly. His smile didn't flicker. He took a step toward me, but his arms didn't move. They stayed dead at his sides, swinging like they were made of rubber. "The edges must be kept clean, Ethan. If the edge isn't clean, the rest leaks out. You don't want anything leaking out, do you?" I didn't know what to say. I felt a cold pit in my stomach. That wasn't a conversation. It was like he was reading a script that didn't match the situation. I just got in my car and left. In the rearview mirror, I saw him go back to scraping the metal against the asphalt. Scritch, scritch, scritch. The glitch at the office. At the architecture firm, things got worse. Daniel, my supervisor, is the kind of guy who never loses his cool. But last Wednesday, I walked into his office without knocking. He was sitting at his desk. The lights were off. He wasn't reading anything. He wasn't on his computer. He was just still, but not thinking still. He was static. I stood in the doorway, shocked. He wasn't blinking. His chest wasn't rising. I swear on everything holy, there wasn't a single sound of breathing in that room. I took a step back and the door creaked. In that same millisecond, Daniel turned to me. He blinked 3 times fast and leaned toward his computer as if he'd been working for hours. "Ethan, good of you to come. The East Wing project needs adjustments," he said, looking down at the reports on his desk. "Daniel, are you okay? You seemed strange." He stopped typing. Slowly, he raised his head. His eyes were what scared me most. You know when you look at a dead fish on a market counter? That lifeless, lusterless thing? Those were his eyes. "Sometimes we just need to rest, Ethan. There's no need to stay alert when no one is using the room." My blood turned to ice. When no one is using the room? What does that even mean? I left that office feeling like my legs were going to give out. The rule no one tells you. The only person who seemed real here was Sarah from accounting. She used to smoke hidden behind the building, and her hands always shook. One day I went up to her and asked, "Sarah, what is happening to this place?" She looked at me with a terror I've never seen in anyone. She dropped her cigarette and grabbed me by the collar. "Shut up," she whispered, and I could feel the sweat on her hands. They feel it when you notice. They don't like being observed. If you see something wrong, you smile. If you see someone standing in the dark, you pretend you didn't notice. Understand? You only survive in Silver Creek if you pretend to be as empty as they are. Who are they, Sarah? The things that live in the houses? The things wearing our neighbors' clothes? Just act normal. If you break character, they correct you. The next day, Sarah's desk was empty. Her computer was gone. When I asked about her, Daniel simply said, "Sarah? We've never had anyone by that name. You must be confusing us with another branch, Ethan. Drink some water. You look pale." They didn't just take her. They erased her footprint from the company, as if she had never existed. They are in the corners. The worst part started 3 days ago. I began noticing things in my house moving, small things. A picture frame tilted to the side. A closet door I know I closed, but now stands ajar. But what broke me happened last night. I was watching TV in the living room. It was pitch black, except for the light from the screen. You know that feeling when someone is watching you? I looked toward the corner of the room near the bookshelf. There was a figure there. It was Mr. Miller, my neighbor. He was standing in the corner, half his body hidden in shadow. He was wearing the same vest and that same smile. He wasn't doing anything, just watching me. In the dark of my own living room, a scream caught in my throat, but Sarah's words came back to me. Pretend you didn't notice. Don't break character. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped the remote. My heart was thumping so loud I thought he'd hear it. I forced a yawn. Man, I'm tired, I said to the empty room, my voice cracking. Think I'll head to bed. I stood up. I had to pass within 2 feet of him to get to my room. I didn't look. I kept my eyes fixed on the bedroom door, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw his head track my every move. Without moving his body, just the neck rotating like a mechanical axis. I went into my room, closed the door slowly, and didn't lock it. If I locked it, I'd be admitting I knew he was there. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling for 3 hours. I listened to the silence of the house. And every now and then, I heard the sound of something being dragged down the hallway. Very, very slowly. The despair now. I'm in the bathroom now. I left my room 10 minutes ago because I heard the front door handle turn. And then Daniel's voice came from my hallway. Ethan, you forgot to hand in the report yesterday. I came to collect it. You know what's scariest? It's 3 in the morning. No one collects reports at 3 a.m. And he didn't knock. He just walked in. I can hear his footsteps now. They're heavy, as if he doesn't know how to distribute the weight on his feet. He's walking through my bedroom. Ethan, I know you're awake. I can hear your heart. It's making a lot of noise. Why is it making so much noise? That seems abnormal. I'm holding back tears. I want to scream. I want to jump out the window and run until my feet bleed. But I know if I leave this house, the other things out there will see me. The whole complex belongs to them. The whole town belongs to them. He's at the bathroom door now. I can see the shadow of his feet under the door. He's not knocking, he's just standing there. Ethan, he said, and now his voice doesn't sound like Daniel's anymore. It's a hollow voice, like the sound is coming from inside a metal pipe. Open the door. Let's fix that noise in your chest. You'll feel much better once you stop feeling afraid. It's just an adjustment. In 5 minutes, you'll be like us. Perfect. I know I don't have much time. If you find this post, please don't come to Silver Creek. If you see a place that's too perfect, run. If you see a neighbor with a static, unreal smile, run. They're forcing the door. I can hear the wood splintering. I'm going to put my phone in my pocket. I'm going to stand up, open the door, and I'm going to smile. I'll tell them I had a nightmare. I'm going to pretend until the very last second. Because the rule is clear, you only survive if you pretend you don't know. But I think this time, I knew too much. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to live a like.